right, so welcome to the third episode of the Financial Chance podcast. We got Brandon Rosewag. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Brandon Rosewag. I own the Trading Camp. Basically, it's an options trading server. Inside the server, if I were to go to buy like a Roku put or a Roku call, basically what I do is I tell everybody what call or what put I'm buying, tell you how much I enter the trade for, and how much I exit the trade for.
I know you actually just started a book. Can you go in on that a little?
Yes, sir. So profitability drops tonight at 8 p.m. EST. I can't wait for this thing to come out. I've literally been working on it for like 3 months, and yeah.
So it's not even released yet, but you already have so much pre-orders.
Yes, sir. 77 right now. I'm looking at it.
Nice. Wow. That shows how much support you got from your customers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay.
Dude, I didn't even think it would do that good.
No, it did amazing. I saw, and congrats to you.
Thank you.
So tell us about your background, what you wanted to do prior to you becoming a trader, your socioeconomic status, your life.
Yeah. So the reason I feel like me and you are very similar because like you did NYPD.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking to go into the MSP, Maryland State Police. So like for the longest time, I wanted to be a police officer because everybody I grew up with, they were overdoing, bad shit. I'm allowed to cuss, right?
No, you could do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so they were doing bad shit. I had friends that were like selling drugs. I had friends that were like shot and killed over drugs and stuff like that. So I wanted to go into the state police because, I wanted to do something different. And then, family issues with like addiction and all that stuff. So I wanted to, do something positive. So it wasn't until like my closest like friend growing up had an overdose. I was like, I need to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at the state police, and yeah, for the longest time I was going to do that, man. Like years, I wanted to do it. 4 or 5 years, I wanted to do it. So I went to school, was going for a criminal justice degree, and I eventually got a internship with the Maryland State Police. Did that for, I think it was like 6 months, and just seeing it, I didn't want to be a trooper at all. Because, you're working 10, 12-hour shifts. You're dealing with people all day. Seeing dead people. I saw a lot of dead people, man. And that just wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, like, I really had no idea what to do with my life because that was the only thing I could see myself possibly doing.
Mm-hmm.
So like we talked about earlier, I started to do fitness stuff, fitness vlogs, gave up on it because of other people's opinions. Like I had a whole fitness page on Instagram and people would just be hating on me. They'd be like, dude, you have little bitch arms, you have little bitch calves. And I just couldn't take it. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give this up. And it was something I loved and I regret giving it up. But yeah, now I was going, like I've been trading on and off. And it wasn't until Corona when I like fully got into it. And I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna make something out of this.
Mm-hmm.
So at this time, I was still going to school for criminal justice. And when Corona hit, I was spending so much on school and seeing how much I can make trading. I remember one of the first few days after Corona, I took an AMD put. I freaking banked off of that put. I was like, oh my God, why don't I do this instead? So I started to do it every day and just added up every single day. And it got to the point I said to my mom, like, hey, I'm not going back to that school. So I ended up leaving that school, switched to an online school. But now it's like to the point where I'm making, so much money off of trading, the Discord, teaching people, the book, all that stuff. So I was still going for criminal justice. I called them up. I was like, you know what? I need to switch this major. I'm so close to getting the major, bro. I got one more semester. So I just switched the major to a general studies just because, I would never do something in criminal justice. So yeah, I switched it. Might as well just get the degree. And, we're here now.
Yeah, and you actually just made a trade recently that was, comparable to other people's salary for the whole year. So you want to speak on that?
Yeah, that GameStop call.
Yeah, tell us about that. What do you think of GameStop too?
It's a meme stock, to be honest with you, bro. But here, let me pull up the chart. Let me look at it. But yeah, GameStop, it's a meme. But that's the power of technicals. Technicals will take you a long, long way. So you could look at AMC or GameStop or BlackBerry and know that like this company fundamentally is not worth anything.
Mm-hmm.
But if the technicals are speaking to you on a whole different level, I would rather listen to the technicals than a fundamental, to be honest.
Nice. And this was a trade you put out there as well, or?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, no, that's good because I would assume like like F the GameStop, like we're here to do like real shit, but like
yeah. So a lot of the trades I put out are because I'm mainly a day trader.
Mm-hmm.
So I live stream when I'm doing it, but like my whole point is to never go into a trade with $4,000 on the line, especially on something like GameStop. So I like to put out trades more like that are extremely backed up by technicals and people can learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
So I put out a Roku put on, what was it? I think it was Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. It was backed up by technicals like out the ass. Had so many confirmations to go short, and I want people to see that when I'm putting out these trades.
Okay. So, what made you get into trading, and how long have you been trading for?
Yeah, so like I said, it's been on and off for a few years, probably 3 years. But it wasn't ever to the point where like I sat here every single day. Like maybe I'd trade once a week, twice a week, just on and off. I wasn't very successful at first until I hired a mentor. Dude, my mentor literally taught me everything. But yeah, so on and off for, a few years. And then, Corona hit, I had nothing to do besides just sit here. And I was like, you know what, I'm like actually going to dive into this deeper because I was getting better at it. I just wasn't very consistent because of school and everything. But at this time, I had nothing to do. So really got into it, learned everything I could. And the whole reason I got into it was because like I had nothing else I could do. Like as far as the state police, you know what I mean? Because I could not see myself doing that for 20, 30 years. I just couldn't. So I was at this point where I was like stuck. Like, you need to figure out something to do ASAP or you're not going to have any money. So I started reselling shoes, started drop shipping on eBay, but it was very inconsistent as far as, the income. I needed something, that can make me income every single day. So yeah, trading was literally the only way I could not go into the state police.
But it wasn't like doing the other stuff, like the reselling and all that. It wasn't bad money, right?
It wasn't bad, but it was very inconsistent. So like, if a Yeezy dropped, there's a chance I, couldn't get any of the Yeezys and they only release, so often.
So since this is like the Financial Chance podcast, we talk about like the unfair hand people were dealt and the way they, were able to accomplish bigger things like you are right now.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the people who say that they're unable to find a job or whatever the case might be?
There's so many ways you can make money online. You just have to look. Okay, we'll talk about the pools. Do you know about the whole pool craze in the summer?
No. Oh, so, the renting out people's pools?
No, buying pools. So because of Corona, you couldn't go to like a public pool. So Walmart was one of the main places that had pools, Walmart and Amazon, but they were very limited because they didn't think there was going to be that high demand. So they only made so much coming for the summertime. And since I live like 40 minutes out of Baltimore, like in the middle of nowhere in Maryland, my Walmart, I would pre-order the pools. I pre-ordered like 15 of them and you have like a week, 2 weeks to come pick them up. So I would put them up on eBay. I was buying them for like $368 and selling them for like $750, $800, $850, $950. It just went up and up and up. So I wasn't even getting charged on my card until somebody bought it on eBay. So worst case scenario, if nobody bought it, I just don't go in and pick it up and I don't get charged. So by the time I was going to pick it up, I was already making $400, $500 profit.
Wow.
So there's so many ways you can make money online. If you're really good at something, write a book, like for example, the book that's going to be releasing tonight.
Mhm.
Or, you can teach people. Teaching people how to trade, that's probably it. First off, it's very rewarding because I see the success from all my students, but people will pay you good money to teach them something. So if you're like really good at art, like my girlfriend is amazing at art, she could go out there and teach somebody how to do art. Or if you know how to run a business, you can help somebody, develop a business and people will pay you for that.
Okay.
So yeah, I could think of like 1,000 ways to make money online.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about I know people were renting out their pools for like an hour, like their home pools. They'll charge people an hour to come through to use their pool during COVID. And I was like, wow. But
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
didn't
even
know
think
that.
about that one. But
Yeah.
okay, do you think you were dealt a fair hand in life? Like, would you say you're privileged compared to others with a unfortunate situation or racial label in the minority community?
I don't think I was dealt anything. I will say I had a good family, supportive, but my dad, all he does is work. That's all he does. Dude's like, he's about to turn 60. He's getting old and
Mhm.
he's still just working his ass off. It's sad to see. Um, but at first he didn't have much. So he wasn't getting paid what he is now. And, granted taxes and everything just eat, you know, most of his salary. But yeah, on a study done on like 10,000 millionaires, most of them were not handed anything. So there's a book by Chris Hogan called Everyday Millionaire. Very good book. But yeah, I don't think I was handed anything special. I actually think I had it like pretty hard. Going through high school, bullied, graduated with a 1.85 GPA from high school, having 1.85, bro. I
Damn,
don't
my
think I
parents
ever
would have
gotten that.
spanked you.
Yeah. Yeah, 1.85. A teacher telling me I wouldn't be shit in life. So, and then, I had my friends doing all the bad stuff, addiction in the family, whatever. And so, yeah, I wasn't, handed anything. I didn't have a lot of friends. But then, you become something like now. I just put out a tweet the other day that it's so hard to find friends because, me personally, I have to promote what I do. So, people are seeing all the money coming in. It's so hard to find friends now that aren't like, hey, can you teach me how to trade on the side for free? Or can you help me generate income? Can I borrow, $100 for rent? Stuff like that. It's so hard. Um, but yeah, I would say, I wasn't handed much. Started working at Pizza Hut, literally the worst job in the entire world for minimum wage for like a year. Ended up going and working with special needs, which I enjoyed. Very good job, but I was working 60 hours a week for that and, not getting paid much. I was getting paid like 11.25 an hour. And I actually just put my 2 week in because everything's just getting too busy. So I scaled from 60 hours a week to 10. And I've been working 10 hours for a while now, but now, teaching, the huge teaching groups themselves as well, the book, the Discord trading, it's just way too much. So I had to put the 2 week in. It was sad, but got to move on to bigger, better things.
So not everyone's built to be a trader. Like, what do you suggest to people? Like, do you think everyone is meant to be a trader? And what are the most important qualities to become a successful trader?
Yeah, so I will say not everybody. A lot of people think it's get rich quick. I never saw it as that. So if you come in and you gamble, you're gonna lose your ass and you're gonna quit. I've seen it happen so many times.
Mhm.
I've seen people make 10,000 in Tesla just to turn around and lose 20,000 the next day. So if you're a gambler, it's not meant for you. But I do think the most important thing as a trader would be, your mindset. So, what's the one book called? Trading in the Zone. Fantastic book. It's all about mindset. So, as you know, like from technical indicators, they work because we make them work. You know what I mean? So if I'm looking at a 5 EMA, it works because it's a very common moving average and it's so many people using it at one time that we make it work.
Yeah.
So, if you come in with the mindset that you're going to get rich quick and you lose 2,000, you're like, screw this, I'm gonna hop out. Or you come in, your first 3 trades are a winner say you make 100%, 200%, what are you more than likely going to do on that fourth trade is you're going to go all in and then you're going to lose your ass and then you quit. Or you come in and your first 3 trades are a loser. You're like, screw this. This isn't meant for me. But, knowing me, like I'm the last person in the world I would have thought would be able to trade and make an income off of it. Trust me. I know so many other people as well. One of my students who's 20 is killing it. 20 years old. He just messaged me. He made $1,000 last week. So he just started, I think it was October or no. I started teaching him in August. I told him for a few months, sent him out on his own in January. And just this last week, he said, hey, I made $1,000 trading at 20, which is, that's good.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So you could work minimum wage for, I think it's like $12 here, or trade 2 hours a day. And then, yeah.
So what do you recommend for new traders to do? Like, how would you guide them? I mean, they should definitely purchase the book. Is it beginner friendly, by the way, is the book?
Mm-hmm. I start very basic. Everything in it is very basic. So like the Greeks of trading, what are calls and puts, how do we profit? And then I tell them the right moving averages to use, because I hear people talk about like 15-day moving averages or even the 20-day moving average. If you look up the Fibonacci sequence, are you familiar with it?
Yeah,
Yeah. So the Fibonacci sequence, it actually adds up to 21, the 21-day moving averages instead of the 20.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make, even though it's like a penny difference or like 2 pennies, it would just make sense to use a 21. So that's the goal of the book, is to give people like the right information. Because if you go on YouTube and type in, exponential moving averages for day trading, you're going to see people talking about like all types of different ones, and you don't know which one's going to work the best.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I see people's charts with like 1,000,000 lines on them, and then it's like, what am I looking at?
Yeah, exactly. So
talking about all these like gurus and stuff,
mm-hmm.
How do you think someone could differentiate, like, someone who's legit and, someone who's lying? Because on Clubhouse, bro, I go into a room and these people are like using terms, how like there's specific terms that we use that sounds a little different from like contrary, but is like, we don't use it because no one refers to them as that. So I like go on Clubhouse rooms and people are like saying this or that. And I'm like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, real traders don't use that term, or how would you say people could distinguish like a phony and a real?
Yeah. That's actually really, I will say like 90% of the people you find on YouTube or even TikTok, and like you said, Clubhouse, a lot of them are going to be talk. Mm-hmm. That's just, the dead truth. Like very known traders, like I don't want to throw no shade or anything, but like Ricky G, Ricky G.
Gutierrez, I think, or something.
Yeah, I'm not too fond of him because, what he was doing is just trading DGAS and UGAS every single day. Like, yes, it worked. He makes a lot of money off of it. But as far as like his technical videos, I don't really agree with them. So he's good at what he does. Just like the information, I think could be a little better. So I would say like, that's a hard question. Ask them how long they've been trading for. How much did they actually make? Can they show you a statement? Stuff like that. Maybe do like one class with them and be like, just listen and be like, okay, does this dude actually know what he's talking about? Because if you get in a call with somebody and he's struggling to explain like a 9-day moving average or an 8-day moving average and how to draw your support or resistance, the dude's a phony. Mm-hmm. So especially now with Discords being so big, because everybody goes on TikTok, they make a few funny TikTok videos and they're like, okay, join my Discord. And then people go in the Discord and they lose their ass. So I have so many people that have messaged me from other Discord servers being like, yeah, I lost so much money due to these people. And I'm like, okay, what do they trade? And they're like, oh, we were trading GNOS or like cheap penny stocks the whole time. I'm like,
So are you against penny stocks?
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of shares, really, to be honest with you. As of recently, they got bigger than they were. Because, if it's a cheap share, people like it. But me, I'm specifically options. Like I'll do shares if they're there. But I just prefer to do options on Facebook, Boeing, Microsoft, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, actually. So how do you go about looking for trade? Because I get this question a lot, and I don't really quote unquote look for them. How do you look for a trade? Because you said you usually trade, Facebook or whatever, or Boeing, or so. Do you have a scanner, or do you mainly just trade a few specific ones?
Yeah, so I actually make a day trading watch list. It consists of 10 to 15 stocks. So they are highly liquid companies that are traded millions of times a day, and they have an ATR, so an average trading range, to the point where it can move and you can make, a good amount of profit. So if I was looking at Boeing, which is something I trade at least 3 times a week, it moves $8.25 a day. So if you're trading options with the delta and everything, $8 is, more than enough. SQ Square moves 1472. Again, it moves a lot. You can profit both ways off of that. PayPal, Apple, AMD, Facebook, Microsoft, Neo, Beyond, DraftKings, Plug, stuff like that. Like they're highly liquid companies. They're known companies, and they give you an ATR, a good amount in the ATR, to a point where you can trade it multiple times a day if you really wanted to. So the way I have it set up is I have these 10 to 15 stocks, and over time you're going to acquire, which ones you like to trade. So I would say Boeing is my absolute favorite to trade. I've just been trading it so long, I know the price action. So I have a little flexible grid set up where I have a 4-hour, a daily, a 30-minute, a 15-minute, and an hourly. And I look at all of these different time frames at once, and I look for patterns. So last week, Boeing, I saw I think it was a 4-hour. Yeah, it was a 4-hour inverse head and shoulders that you cannot see on any other time frame. And the neckline was at 218.85. So, you break the neckline, there's going to be a continuation. That thing blew past 218.89, and it made an extra $10 move on top of that the same day.
Wow.
So
nice.
I look at all these different time frames, and if you have 10 to 15 stocks and you flip through them every single morning, you're going to get at least 3 that you can watch. And that's all you really need, is to watch 3. So I just repeat the same process every single day.
What is your daily routine? Like, a lot of people think, you got to wake up. I know you wake up early, because sometimes I'm like, wow, this guy's texting me at 5 a.m. But a lot of people think that you need to wake up like at 6 or something. You start doing your research. Like, that's like contrary belief. Like, you're on your computer at 6 looking up like news, this and that, or penny stocks with the most movement, etc. What is your daily routine?
Yeah, so to be honest with you, I don't even check news. I was with Benzinga, but I haven't talked to them in a while, so I don't have their platform anymore. But I used to just go on Benzinga and look at like price upgrades. So if Boeing popped up with a price upgrade, it's more than likely it's going to have some type of price action that way. So I paid a lot of attention to the price upgrades, but other than that, I didn't really read news. I would say 95% of my trades are due to technicals. So I wake up super early, 5:15, usually 5:10, 5:15, come over to my computer, and I do exactly what I just said. Click on every single stock in the watch list, so 10 to 15, look at all the time frames, find 3 to 4, put it out on my Discord group, what I'm watching this day in a pre-market tab. And that's literally all we do. So I'll be like, okay, the squeeze is getting ready to fire to the upside on the daily. We're holding above the 21 EMA. We have a continuation to let's say 223.43, 227.79, stuff like that.
How big is your Discord now?
Holy shit, that thing it's grown a lot. I'm actually surprised. I actually just had it up.
Because I know on TikTok you have over like 80,000, right?
Yeah, 83,000. That's crazy. And to be honest, bro, the first video I made, I didn't think it would blow up the way it did, because it involved Benzinga. I was like, how to find stocks before they pop. And you go and you find like a news article, and then you look at the short float. the shares outstanding and stuff like that. And that thing just blew up. And I'm so glad it did because, I believe everything happens for a reason. So there was a reason why I'm at 83,000 followers now to begin with. There's a reason, these well-known people are hitting me up now. It's crazy. Like people with millions of followers. And yeah, the same thing with Clubhouse. It's crazy.
I know.
But yeah, we don't have all of the customers into our new dashboard. But as of now, it says we have 342 paying members, but the group has been around for like a year and a half. So the old people aren't in there. I would say I would say roughly 400.
Wow. Well, 300 something paying members is a lot of people.
Yeah.
So and you guys do live trading like within the server?
Mm-hmm. I do. So it depends on the day, but usually I will. Unless it's like a day that I really want to focus on something while I'm trading. But I would say most of the time I am day trading live. So it's much easier to say, okay, enter Boeing 227.5 calls instead of like typing it out and then clicking enter, because by the time I type it out, say how much I paid for it, probably already moved $20-$30 on the contract. So,
and how, so you've been trading for quite some time now. When would you say you have became profitable?
I would say it at least took a year, to be honest with you.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad
so like I said, I've been trading on and off. So for me, it wasn't like exactly a year till I was like actually good at it, because I was on and off for a while till Corona. But I'm trying to think, definitely not when I first started again. Because like you'll make money, you'll lose money. Most traders break even their first year, or they'll lose money. But I would say a few months after like I actually got back into it is when I started to see everything. I would say the hardest part for a lot of traders, because, March and February, the market was selling off. So everybody was, adapted to puts. And I don't know what it is, but so many people just think like puts after puts. They only look for opportunities to go puts. So the whole time the market was running up, eventually they adapted to, okay, calls. But now the market's pulling back. People just can't adapt to puts. It's just something, you know what I mean? So I will say, like, to be successful, especially now, you need to know when to go calls and when to go puts, because I trade both ways all the time.
Okay. So, damn, I mean, I want to ask this question, but I know that the video is probably going to release a little later. But anyways, I agree with what you said. Like, at first it was sell the freaking, sell every freaking time you could. Now it's buy the freaking dip,
Dude, it's
and
crazy.
It's like, what the
I
hell?
made some good money off of that.
That's why they say, like, successful people always like inverse majority, It's when it's getting too much people saying that we're going to do this, it's time to step back and like say, where are we going, So I know. So this video is recorded on the 28th. And it's probably going to release sometime later this week or something like that. Where do you think the market is going? We could say you called it or whatever, but it's 228 right now. The video is probably going to release next week or the week after. How do you feel about the current market?
I think there's been a lot of greed. So for me, let me pull up a chart real quick. Like Warren Buffett said, be fearful when people are being greedy, be greedy when people are fearful. So when the market tanked its ass, I was buying every single day for long-term positions, and my long-term account profited, I think it was like 40 something percent, a little over 40%, which, it doesn't sound like a lot compared to an options account, but a long-term portfolio with a good amount of money in it, 40% is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I were to look at the S&P futures right now, and I made that the TikTok video on, how to tell if the market's going to tank, like an actual crash, which we'll talk about here in a second. But the S&P futures, the reason it stopped where it did was due to a fib level. So a pivot high to a pivot low Fibonacci level. It lined up at 39.28, and we did go over it to 35. what is it, or 39, 59, 25. But as soon as it pulled back, that 39.28 area became major resistance. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row, or not in a row, but 5 days over like a week, 2 week span. And then 2 days a little further back that it hit this area. So since the market could not hold above that area, it turned bearish, my bad, and they pulled it. So the last time the market pulled back in, we had that very brief pullback in January 27th to what is that, February 1st. So very briefly pulled back. The S&P futures stopped on the 55 EMA to a T and then reversed. So the 55 EMA is an extremely important daily moving average. So we're actually we almost bottom ticked straight off of it to a T on Friday. And it's currently sitting above the 50 SMA at 3,800. So I think this time, if they pull the S&P futures below that 55 EMA, wherever it may be, right now it's at 378. If it pulls below 370, or what is that, 3784 on the futures, we could see a bigger pullback. Now, the NASDAQ futures, they did pull below it. And you saw this last week, there was a lot of, pullback on the NASDAQ futures. So they could pull the NASDAQ down to 12,500. That is the 100 SMA on the daily. But yeah, there's tons of indications that they're going to pull it more. I wouldn't say we're going to have a crash because, talking about the yen, if you typed in /6J, it's going to pop up with the yen. And basically the yen, big money will start to move there when the market is beginning, or if they know there's going to be a crash, they're going to put their money into the yen. It's just a hedging tactic that the hedge funds use. So it takes them a few days to even do all of the transactions. You'll notice it in the yen, like just because I look at it all the time, it's easy to see. But if you go all the way back to last February, you can see the huge run up in price that it gave at the same time the market was crashing. Or if you type in, $P call, this is what's alarming to me right now. You type in that $P call. The P call is basically telling you the put to call ratio. So how many puts are there in the market compared to the calls? It doubled from Thursday to Friday. It more than doubled. It went from 0.33 to 0.68. So a little over. But yeah, that's a little warning sign right there. Above 0.8 is when you want to, be cautious. This is telling you that people are putting on protection. So it could be VIX, it could be SQQQ, it could be, puts on the QQQ, stuff like that. So this is important. And then the last one I watch is the SKEW, SKEW.
I heard you speak on this.
Yeah. So the SKEW will tell you where it's CBOE, so the Chicago Exchange. If you use level 2, you know what CBOE is. Mm-hmm. But it's telling you which way they're skewed in the market. So if it's to the upside, like big time to the upside, it means they're heavily skewed to the upside. Now, if it starts coming down, they're putting on protection. They're uncertain about the market, could pull a little more. So you're seeing one of the hedge funds, like directly what they're doing, or one of the exchanges, what they're doing. So if you went back to, Corona times, it was sitting around 115. But when the market was extremely bullish in like August and stuff like that, and even, November into December, they were so skewed to the upside at like 145. I can't even see that number, 148. So yeah, the higher it's skewed to the upside, the more bullish they are on the market. If it starts coming down, you should probably watch that. But it's like an indication of all three of those combined. that
This
gives
is pretty cool.
the market can go and the futures.
This is pretty cool. The P call thing, you see, I'm learning too. P call, the put to call ratio when it got to 0.12, I saw that it came down to 0.12.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been like a very like you should have been a little cautious, a little more cautious there, since it kind of like quote unquote broke down underneath, where we usually are at. But wow.
Yeah, so when it's down that low, nobody has protection on. So they are very bullish on the market. If you go back to November, you can see, like, if you go to SPY in November, this is one of the, November is when, we broke out of that all-time high and started running big time. So nobody had protection on, meaning they were very bullish on the market. And, we got a huge run to the upside, which is crazy.
Gotcha.
But yeah, in my opinion, I think they're going to pull it if the S&P or SPY closes below 378 or wherever the 55 EMA is at that time. I think they're going to pull it a little more, maybe to the 100 SMA, which is down at, what is that, 367.45. So, it's crazy what you can predict with technicals, because on Friday I said, SPY can go up to, where's that 21 EMA at? I said this, everybody. I said it could go to like 386, 388, which was, our moving averages. But then ultimately, I think they're going to pull it to the 55 EMA, which is down at 378. And you can see it went straight up to the 21 EMA, bounced off, and then pulled down to the 55.
This P call thing, I'm gonna start using this P call thing a little more. Like if it gets to like this 0.85 level, it seems like it could be and it's on an uptrend right now, actually. Yeah. So that's pretty scary.
So that P call, it's gonna snitch. So I always keep a close eye on that, especially like if I'm going heavy into calls and I see that thing spiking, I want to get out of it. And the VXX, that's another one that I would watch. But yeah, VXX, they put it on as protection, and it had a pretty good Thursday and Friday. Yeah, it's up a good amount. But yeah, that's what I would watch.
I'm going to see if I could try to get this video like out ASAP, but like we just got the stimulus checks. It's going to be passed to the Senate. Mm-hmm. How much do you think that will affect the market, and where do you think it'll bring the market in the case that we get it?
To be honest, bro, I don't want to like fire anybody up, but the U.S. economy, Google will say we're 27 trillion in debt. Mm-hmm. It's actually estimated we're 50 trillion in debt. $50 trillion in debt. That's a lot of money. Hold on. Because there was a, let me look this up real quick. Trying to find the statistics on this.
Now take your time. I got my video editor, so
to put into consideration how long would it take you to even spend 1 trillion? It would take you 31.7 thousand years to spend $1 a second to reach a trillion. That's how much 1 trillion is. The fact that we are over 50 trillion, roughly over 50 trillion, that's insane. So I don't want to talk politics.
No, talk. As long as you don't mind, as long as you feel like your audience doesn't mind, because I know we are like in a cancel culture society right now. So as long as you're not afraid that your people are going to hate you, I talk politics all the time. And I could care less if they, I quit the job because of that. I want my freedom back so that I could talk. So if you want to talk, it's up to you. If you don't, I respect that too.
I don't think I want to. It's always been one of those things, bro. I just stay out of it. Like I got my own, political views. There's a few things I don't talk about, and that's one of them. Just because I've seen, because, you say I'm Trump 2020 or I'm Biden 2020, then you got people on your ass. It's just, but I believe the more stimulus we are given, the worse the economy is going to be. There's also a bill, I think it got denied that they were trying to increase minimum wage to 15. That's going to screw so many employers because, if you got right here or in Maryland, where I live, minimum wage is like 12, something like that. If you increase everybody's minimum to 15, you're going to have to lay people off because if you're not making that much money to begin with, how are you going to keep up with that? Because as a business owner, you also got to put money in your pocket. So that mixed with the continuous stimulus, this is what, our third, I think. Yeah. Because I got 2 of them already. Yeah. And then all the unemployment money from like the job I was at, it was paying me $600 a week to not be working. So all of that is going into debt on the US, which is awful. Going back to a little history lesson real quick.
Yeah.
Going back to 1972, 1973, our US dollar used to be backed by gold. So it actually had like true value to it until President Nixon came out and said like, that's no longer a thing. You can't do that. So what a US dollar now to us, it's nothing. If you held up a $20 bill, it's $20 because the government tells you it's $20. Mm-hmm. In reality, it doesn't back shit. Mm-hmm. So that's why I sent out a tweet that I'm very bullish on silver. I think silver is going to be over 100. And I believe that, Bitcoin or ETH are going to take over. It's because the money supply, the cash, it doesn't track anything whatsoever. The more we go into debt, they're going to have to raise taxes to first pay it off. And then inflation, you saw what inflation just did to the market this week. Mm-hmm. This was all due to inflation, it's crazy. But what was the question again?
The 2020, no, because you're talking about silver, and I remember you saying like to go buy silver and you use JM Bullion. So I'm like looking it up.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to, everything sold out, man. I mean, Wall Street bets killed this.
So, damn, what was?
So how are we going to protect ourselves, Brandon? Tell us.
So hold on. I don't want to say the wrong country. Hold on. Yeah. You're just going to have your editor move this out real quick.
Yo, the 2020 1-ounce American Silver Eagle coin releasing on 3/8 is coming out, bro. This thing is up for sale.
Those silver coins resell for a lot too.
I'm buying this then. Is this a buy signal for me?
Going back to reselling, there's been times where I bought silver coins for sub 100 and people will buy them as collectibles for over 500, 600, 700 bucks. It's crazy. But it's either China or Japan has trillions of dollars in the bond market in the US. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big fan of bonds because bonds, they return 3 to 4% a year. If you add inflation at roughly 2%, you're really only making 1 to 2% on your money. Robert Kiyosaki could explain this a lot better than I could. But really what bonds are is their shit. And he predicts that the bond market is going to go to shit. Mm-hmm. So if that happens, and I think it's Japan. It's either Japan or China. I don't know. But if that happens and China or Japan lose those trillions of dollars in the US bond market, shit's going to get bad. They want their money back. Mm-hmm. So the money system right now, like if you really looked into it, it is so bad. We are in debt up to our ass. And the only way to get out of it is tax people and inflation and taxes. Like if you go to tax Bill Gates, good luck. People like Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and Elon pay like almost 0% in tax. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. But
actually, so about that, how do you feel about that? Like, someone paying me and you, we both still pay taxes. So, the fact that Bezos and Musk or whatever, they pay zero tax, how does that make you feel? Does it affect you at all, or?
No, because I know how to do it.
Okay.
So I just went and did my taxes.
Wait, don't say what, yo.
Yeah, let's skip that. We're not going to talk about that.
Okay. But yeah,
but
because people say like, oh, Trump, is an asshole because he doesn't pay any taxes. But like me personally, I feel just like what you feel. I feel like everyone has access to this. It's just a matter of choice, right?
Yes,
like to learn.
Trump didn't pay taxes because he was smart about it. Robert Kiyosaki does not pay taxes because he's smart about it. Elon does not pay taxes because he's smart about it. There's so many write-offs that you can do. Real estate, which is what Trump is, big in. Same with Robert. There's so many different tax advantages to real estate, owning real estate, running a business, S corps, so S corporations for a business, C corps as a business, LLCs, all of that. You just have to educate yourself on how to not pay that much in tax, because in reality, the ones who are not financially literate are going to be the ones that get railed at the end of the year. So my dad, for example, he makes a good amount of money, but I would say, 50% probably goes to taxes and everything, because he is like smack dead in the middle of two tax brackets. So it's awful. He spends literally all the time working. He's probably working 50 hours a week just for most of his money to be taken out in taxes. You can do it through long-term investments. So if you just have 200,000 sitting in the bank, put it into dividends. The longer you hold your dividends, the less the tax is. Put it into a Roth IRA. It's tax-free once you take it out. You're putting taxed money already to take out the gains and everything tax-free. You can write off, as a trader, I wrote off books, my setup, mentors, Discord groups. There's so much stuff you can write off. You just have to be, smart enough and actually like teach yourself how to do it. You want to talk about college?
Do you think you know about this because you're white?
No, bro. It's opening a book.
Okay.
$10 to $15 book. That's Robert Kiyosaki. If you read all of his books, you are going to have enough information for the rest of your life. They're $10 to $15 books. No.
No, I mean, I don't know, because apparently like this is only, I mean, I'm not white and I know of it, but like it seems like it's I don't know, maybe the book is racist.
Robert Kiyosaki isn't white. Pays 0% in tax.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of people talk about, and this is what the financial chance is about. I mean, a lot of people talk about, Trump not paying taxes, but I asked them, like, you guys complain about your taxes going to nothing every single year. So you're telling me that if you were able to not pay taxes, you would do the same. So what makes him different from you? It's the same thing. It's just that you're not willing to learn about it, right? So
in one of Robert's books, it's called the cash flow quadrant. You have the E quadrant, which is employee, the S quadrant, which is self-employed, the I quadrant, which is investor, and the B quadrant, which is like a big business. So like Amazon, Tesla, stuff like that. The E and S quadrants, you are going to get taxed insanely, because as an E, your income is getting taxed. As an S, your income is getting taxed from, your own business. Or S is like small business, self-employed, whatever. But if you are always working for somebody else in the E quadrant, say you're working at McDonald's, you're getting taxes taken out before you even see it. Now, I will say the one thing about like being self-employed or a small business, especially if you're self-employed, you don't really know how much you owe to the end of the year. So that is hard. But if you are an investor, like I said, there's so many ways to pay not a lot of tax. My grandfather has a lot of money in the market and he lives off of dividends, specifically dividends. The longer you hold dividends, the less the tax is. If you're a big business owner, for example, let's just say Elon Musk, for Tesla, I'm assuming he owns, I forget which one it would be, an S corp or a C corp. But the cash flow goes under Tesla. It doesn't go under him. It doesn't specifically go under Elon Musk. So he's not going to pay taxes like that. Since it's going under Tesla, it's so confusing to explain. And really, I'm not like 100% on how to explain it. But since all the money's going in under Tesla, he's not the one being taxed on it because it's going to other people. It's going to, research, car development and stuff like that. But there's a way to like pay yourself under the radar.
Yeah, I think people confuse net worth and like income or something like that, because net worth, I mean, you technically aren't really taxed on net worth, just because I own Tesla shares, and most of Elon's wealth is from Tesla shares. It's not a taxable thing until he gets rid of it. So, yeah. But what did you want to speak about in college?
Honestly, bro, I'm not the biggest fan of college. I'm finishing it now just because I was so close. You might as well just finish it. But I will say I went 16 years of school and do not know a single thing that I know now. Nothing from school has applied to where I am.
No, I agree.
The one thing that has taught me more than anything in this entire world was books. Swear to God. Yeah. It's crazy to think like $20, $30 books will teach you more than spending, 10 grand at a school. And that's even if you live there. So for me, like I could have went to school and lived there. The one school I was going to is $7,500 a semester. I went there for one semester and left. But if I was to live there, it would have been like 16,000 a semester. That's insane.
Imagine putting that into GameStop.
Yeah. You'd never have to work again. You'd be buying a freaking island in Peru.
Yeah.
So $20 to $30 books, some of them are even 10, compared to thousands upon thousands for one semester, because I believe school preps you in a way to become an employee. They don't prep you in a way to, own your own business, how to invest. Like, yeah, there are some classes in college on how to invest. But it's like just, basic information. But yeah, everything I know about money now, didn't learn it in school. They just teach you how to work for somebody else. I never even learned how to balance a checkbook in school, to be honest with you. Knew nothing about taxes, nothing. So, I mean, I was scared to death when I did my taxes because never done it before, especially as self-employed. But yeah, they don't teach, in my opinion. There's going to be people out there that argue with me. But in my opinion, through my experience, not somebody else's, they don't teach you, what really matters. And another thing, a lot of the teachers, bro, I don't know if you've noticed this, but a lot of the teachers have never even done what they teach. Have you noticed that?
No, and yeah, I mean, if teachers were, I don't know, man. I agree with you. Go on, explain this.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on also what college you go to. But my community college, like the criminal justice, there's one teacher who's never even didn't even do what he was teaching. I was like, how are you going to be a forensic teacher and never do forensics? Like, how does that make sense?
Or even trading. I mean, if no, like even like the financial sectors, it's like, and then you have these same financial quote unquote coaches, but they're struggling with money.
Yeah.
So it's like it's like a dentist, with crooked teeth and cavities, telling you how to clean your teeth. Basically, that's what a lot of teachers are.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, would you take weight loss advice from somebody who's overweight?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, I wouldn't. Okay.
Do you have anything to say before you go?
My biggest advice. All right. So literally, if I can do it, So can you. Like, dead serious. Like I said, 1.85 GPA from high school. And then my dog's trying to open the door.
Oh, I was about to say, like, who is this?
And then 1.8. What are you doing, dog? Anyways, 1.85 GPA out of high school, having a teacher telling me I couldn't do anything, getting ready to graduate college with a 4.0, like a 3.8, which is insane. But going from that to there, being somebody working 60 hours a week to scaling it all the way down to 10, and then putting my 2-week notice in, making a full-time income from the market, teaching other people how to be successful in the market, making a book, making a course, working on another book, you can do it also. And then as far as school and everything, like, I just think you could learn a lot more in books. You just got to be determined on what you want to do in your life. So if you do want to be truly financially free, you got to hire a mentor. You got to read books. There's so many other things you got to do. But yeah, if I can do it, so can you.
What is one quote you could leave us with before you go? One quote, your favorite quote that will motivate everybody on the Financial Chance.
The one I tweeted. You just put it out yesterday.
Yeah, that was a good one.
You can always quit, so why quit now?
Great.
I think that's what it was.
All right. Well, thank you, Brandon, for being here. And, we'll talk. If you guys want to follow Brandon, all his links are going to be below in this video. So, Brandon, send me all your links so I can put it down there so they can connect your books, links, everything. So they could, go ahead and check that out as well. Thank you for being here. And I wish you more life and more success.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, brother. Bye-bye.
See you, man.